Fuck you! That's my name!
Hey, this is Sharks Across Tokyo, because it's fucking August. We're not in Hollywood anymore. Nope. We're in Tokyo.
The land of the rising sun.
The land of movies that should be targeted at kids, but are definitely not targeted at kids.
Certainly not this one.
Which is the theme of this year's Tokusatsu month. More adult-oriented Tokusatsu film. So we're doing Hakaider, Mechanical... I keep on wanting to call
Mechanical Violator Hakaider.
I keep on wanting to call it Mechanical Vibrator Hakaider. Mechanical Violator Hakaider.
What a title.
Next week, Zeram, I believe is how it's pronounced. Zeram, Zeiram. I don't know. We'll talk about it. I'll figure it out, and I'll have it down by next week. And then Takashi Miike film called Zebraman.
I'm pretty excited about that one.
And then we're going to close it out with Ninja Scroll. It's not Tokusatsu because anime can't technically be Tokusatsu because Tokusatsu's live action. Okay, let's talk about this fucking movie. So I did end up watching a couple YouTube videos about this show called Android Hakaider from the 70s, I believe. It's an early-ish Toei show. Hakaider is about he's like the ultimate good robot, and it's supposed to be like a Pinocchio kind of thing where he's a real boy and he wants to be a real boy, but he's going to save the world and be all awesome.
So this is like the opposite of that.
Hakaider is a character in that show. He was a villain. He was basically the antithesis of Hakaider, who is all good. And the bad guy in Hakaider apparently has this ability to like get people sucked into the evil, but Hakaider has like a weird computer chip or something inside of him that makes it so the evil can't get to him.
Okay.
So Hakaider is literally the exact opposite. He's all evil, created by this doctor crazy science magic guy who is played by the same guy who was Professor Monster in the Spider-Man.
No shit. Okay. Good old
show.
Professor Monster, keeping it going.
He was the bad guy in like a ton of these fucking shows, and I'm like, oh my god, right. that rules. I love it.
That's cool.
But Hakaider was only in the last like 7 episodes.
Okay.
Yet he's become synonymous with Hakaider in the Tokusatsu world. So that's cool.
Question, is the leader of, what's the name of it, Jesus Town or Jesus
Town?
Yeah, so is the leader of Jesus Town Hakaider, or supposed to be Hakaider?
No,
right.
This has literally nothing to do with Hakaider at all.
Okay.
They just took the Hakaider character and said, let's do this with him.
Because they don't name that character.
It's like Gorja or something.
If he had a name in the movie, I did not catch it.
I just call him the emo kid.
Yeah.
Or the Jesus freak.
Kind of like Christian emo. I could see that.
You say that like it's not a thing that exists.
Oh, I'm 100% sure it's a thing.
Oh, no. You don't say I'm 100% sure. No, it is a thing.
No, I'm just saying I haven't listened to it, so I haven't, like, I can't say, yes, this is it and this is this. But I'm positive it's out there.
The Christian emo kids all started like metal bands. So you hear a band like Under Oath or Of Mice and Men or Asking Alexandria or any of those bands. They all started as Christian bands. But then when you listen to them, it's all like, ooh, blah, that kind of stuff.
Okay.
So the Christian kids could seem all edgy. Like, I knew there was a reason I never listened to any of that stuff. Mostly because it was too heavy for me and I didn't like it. But they were all a bunch of Jesus freaks, and I never really listened. I listened to Reliant K like a fair amount. I did go back and recently listen to a couple Reliant K songs. I'm like, Reliant K is one of the most boring pop punk bands in the history of fucking music.
I've never been a fan. There's still some Christian bands I listen to, but they are not among them. I think I listened to them like one time, but I was already kind of out of it when they hit big.
You don't want to listen to a song about the Sadie Hawkins dance?
I'm a little old for that, I think.
In your khaki pants. There's nothing better, baby. Do you like my sweater? Right?
That sounds like it was perfect for you.
It was. I liked that song a lot, actually. We're not talking about Reliant K. Fuck Reliant K, even though the Jesus thing is semi-relevant to this movie. This movie's fucking weird. It's 77 minutes of probably some of the most bonkersy weirdness that you've ever seen on film, and I've never really seen a movie quite like it. So I spent the first maybe half hour just staring, just wide-eyed at the screen. I'm like, this is everything I've looked for ever in my entire life.
Well, you were more wowed by it than I was. I was not. Immediately, I was a little bit pissed because, I got this on Blu-ray, and this is DVD quality. This is a DVD quality transfer, and not a great DVD quality transfer either. This is like first gen, low budget DVD quality transfer. You
know what matters? Not that.
It matters a little because the visuals in this movie, actually, some of them are kind of cool, and I really wish that I had a good high def transfer, especially the final fight between Hakaider and Michael. That was fucking rad. But
are you going to complain about it the whole time?
No, I'm just bitching about it right now so that I can get it out, and then we can focus on the story, which I've got complaints about there too. But
what story?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I wanted a fucking story. Again, do not get me wrong. That final battle, I fucking loved it. I would rewatch the whole thing just for that final battle.
It is another instance of...
But there is no coherent narrative here.
No, it is another instance of that's just kind of what these Toku shows are like.
This is like an episode of a show is what this is. This is like a pilot episode of a show, and they were like, we got to get the character out there. We got to tell you something about the world, but we don't have time to stumble over a narrative. We'll give you this girl, but don't get too invested in her because she doesn't last. She becomes a motivator. So she's basically a prop for Hakaider's journey. That's fine. As the pilot of a show, oh God, this would have been a banger. And like I said, I could probably see this losing 20 minutes and being cut down to, like 1 hour pilot length and being really, really solid. But yeah, literally, there's nothing to talk about until the fighting starts. There's not really. It's like Hakaider gets out of the thing he's been kept in, not really logically because he breaks his chains immediately. So it's like there needed to be an explanation there, like maybe in the form of like a warning on the door, like do not enter at your own peril, for only, by keeping humanity out are we able to restrain the evil within, or something like that, like it's not that he can't escape, it's that he doesn't feel the need to escape until someone comes in. Like that would make more sense because he immediately makes mincemeat out of every obstacle that stands in his way. He is clearly not being truly restrained by these chains at all, and yet he is chained. So it's kind of nonsensical. And then it's just his plowing into Jesus Town as fucking hard and fast as he can. Jesus Town, my God, there's a missed opportunity for some great storytelling. There is so much going on there that could have been explored better than this movie did. Like if there's a manga or something, I'll bet it's pretty good.
So what you do now, after you realize that there's no story, and don't. Just don't.
Don't what? I don't know what you're talking about.
You focus on all of the other weird awesomeness that's happening around the whole thing, because who fucking cares? It looks awesome, it's fun and stupid, and it makes me happy.
It is fun.
Let's talk about the director really quick.
I did have a really good time watching it.
The director, we've already covered one of his movies for Power Rangers Month once.
I'm curious.
Kamen Rider Zeo.
Oh, okay. All right, yeah.
So you can already see like the visual thing. It's very similar.
Yes.
But this dude...
Was that a later movie, though? Because I feel like that had like a better story.
Nope, came out 2 years before this.
Really?
Huh. He probably didn't write it, though.
That might be. I don't know. Yeah, Kamen Rider Zeo, I'm not remembering it 100%. I remember being impressed by the visuals, and I felt like that had more of a story to it, but that was also a little bit nonsensical too. So, I mean, this guy clearly doesn't worry too much about logic, but he does do some great visual work.
It's what these stories are like. You've never really sat down to watch a movie like this.
That's fair.
Yeah, watch more of them. You will see. I guarantee Zeram probably going to be very similar.
Okay.
In that way.
Okay. So story is kind of secondary to set pieces.
Yep.
Then.
It's like any Hong Kong movie too. We can go back to those. The stories are like as simple as you can get. This guy needs this thing, just an excuse for Jackie Chan to go jump on things and kick people.
Okay. Yeah, all right. I mean, I love First Strike. Jackie Chan's First Strike.
Yeah.
Perfect example of that. Like a silk thin story.
Yeah.
But great action set pieces.
Police Story 4. And they're all kind of like that.
I haven't watched any of the Police Story movies. I really do need to watch.
You have.
those.
You've watched First Strike.
Oh, it's First Strike. Oh, First Strike is Police Story 4.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
Duh. You haven't watched any of the Police Story movies?
I think you told me that before.
Yeah, I've told
and
you it
I
a bunch of
forgot
times.
about it.
You
Yeah.
haven't watched any of the Police Story movies? Okay, so now this look is going to be on my face for the rest of the show because that is a fucking travesty.
No, I know. As I said, I fucking love First Strike. Love it. That ladder fight in First Strike is one of my iconic memories of the 90s. Is when I saw that. Like that changed me on a deep level.
So think about that a little bit story-wise, the story aspect of these things while I'm talking more about this director here.
Okay.
He directed, I don't know if he directed the whole thing or how many episodes, but Dynaman, a Sentai series.
Not aware of that one.
Light Squadron Maskman, another Sentai series. Cyber Ninja, which is a movie that I want to see. It's also titled Mirai Ninja, and Vinegar Syndrome needs to release it. Just fucking do it. Just make a deal with Toei, please, and just start releasing all this weird shit.
You know Vinegar Syndrome doesn't do that high level stuff. What's the biggest shit that they've done? Like as far as that goes, like I guess they've done some stuff that could be considered. I mean, they did do Roadhouse, and so like that was a major.
Wait, you think this is major? This is dumb Japanese bullshit.
I know Toei is a major studio.
Not in America, they're not.
No, but for Japan. So like that, having a deal with Toei would be a big thing for Vinegar Syndrome.
It would be. That
awesome.
would
be big.
So he also directed.
Oh, but it does have to be film. Like they're about film.
Oh yeah, most
Vinegar
of the
Syndrome's
stuff
about that.
Most of the stuff is on film until like the mid to late 90s. Mobile Sheriff Jiban, it's a Metal Hero series. Jetman, the Sentai series that happened right before Jew Ranger, which he also directed.
Oh, okay.
Next week's movie he directed, that was a complete fucking accident. I did not know.
He directed Zyram,
yes.
too?
And he did, Jew Ranger, Kamen Rider Zeo, Ultraman versus Kamen Rider J, Zyram 2, and this. And then he did a bunch of other crazy nonsense. He created a character. I don't know if he created the character, but he's responsible for all like the TV movies and stuff for this character called Garo. I've not watched enough of it to really know anything about it, but it all looks really cool, so I really want to watch it. It's more Toku stuff. So he's a Toku guy.
Yeah, apparently.
And I kind of love all of it. I want more of his stuff. And I'm so excited that we're doing one next week now, and now I want to go watch Kamen Rider J because I still haven't watched that one yet.
I gotta say, I do kind of wish you'd picked three different directors for these 3 different series,
hey,
but
I didn't do it on purpose, man. I literally did. I just figured it out last night.
I'm excited to watch the Takeshi Miike one. I've loved all of Takeshi Miike's work that I've seen so far, which admittedly is only a few movies.
I've seen one trailer for it because I was just curious, and I'm like, wow, this looks fucking wacky.
Cool.
It's not serious like Audition.
Well, I didn't expect he was going to do that.
I know. It's just.
I mean, have you seen The Happiness of the Katakuris?
No.
That's not serious, but it's really good.
So let's talk about the actual movie. So we start with a bunch of random assholes using a fucking weird looking metal detector that kind of flops all over the place. It's really weird. It just kind of like moves by itself. It looks like.
Yeah,
strange.
I think the idea is it's supposed to have like some kind of artificial intelligence in it or something.
Yeah, like
clearly the future, because the thing is like mapping shit in like 3D CGI.
Yeah, very cutting edge for 1995.
The CGI in this movie has aged hard. Not this, because this is just like that same 3D wireframe thing that they've been doing since the 80s. That looks pretty good. I'm talking about later, when the scene shatters. You know the scene I'm talking about.
Oh yeah. Keep in mind that they were years behind us in the effects category of that kind of stuff.
And we weren't doing great back then either.
And their CGI still looks weird to me. Like, you haven't seen Shin Ultraman. You haven't seen that.
Oh, no, I have not.
Ultraman is entirely CGI in that.
Huh.
But it's like, it looks cool, but it's like, they have a very different way of approaching it than we do.
Okay. Well, they always have, so
yeah.
that's completely understandable.
So they're trying to like break into this underground tunnel or whatever it is, and immediately, like, I love the way this movie looks. This is like exactly what I wanted from an aesthetic standpoint. You can be wrong all you want. I like the grainy shittiness of it.
I would have loved it if it were kind of grainy. It's not grainy. It's more pixelated. It's more.
I
just
think
like
you're wrong,
lower.
because I did not get any of that, and I don't have all the fancy hookups that you do. Like, I was not seeing any of this stuff that you were seeing.
I'm sorry, especially the one sequence where it shifts to black and white for a second. Oh fuck, it looks like dog shit.
Oh, you're doing the thing again. Shut the fuck up.
You're right. Sorry, I should have gotten it out. It should be out by now. I really should stop complaining because I did complain pretty hard there at the beginning.
They get to a door at the end of this tunnel, and it's just a big door, big blank door, no dwarven runes over it saying like, hey, there's a bunch of dead dwarves in here, you're going to be sad here in a minute.
Yeah, there really should have been a warning.
The Lord of the Rings reference was not strong because I don't know anything about Lord of the Rings. So inside they find this dude all chained up in a dark room. He looks like the lead singer in a fucking like Japanese metal band. He's just all in black and he's heads down. He looks up slowly and he's
Like Japanese guar.
Yeah, kind of. And the dudes are all like, there's no treasure. Fuck.
Oh yeah, because they were going on about how there's a treasure. There's a treasure.
Because apparently this room's been sealed up for a little while.
And it's like under a prison or some shit like that.
So the dude comes to life as they shoot him 1,000 times. This dude lives in a world of squibs.
It's the sparky kind.
This is Sparky Guy. It's the tokusatsu squib.
It's the like they have a guy off screen like shoot you with a popper thing that pops sparks.
That's what it's supposed to look like. You need to watch more Power Rangers.
I'm not arguing. That's exact. I agree. I'm agreeing with
Good.
you. I don't want the listener thinking that it's like blood squibs. Like that's what you think of when you hear squibs in American cinema. You think blood.
Oh yeah,
packs
no.
blowing up. It's not that. It's sparks.
Because he's a robot.
Yeah.
He's not going to bleed.
There's very little blood in this movie, although they do use it. They do use it appropriately. Like there's the one scene where he goes into the guy's face, and then the scene where he rips off the head. Like those were the scenes that really needed it, and that's where we got it.
So he kills them all. Hakaider, by the way, this guy that we're meeting right now is Hakaider, who's killing everybody. He kills them all in this weird strobe light effect scene. It's real fucking weird. There's blood splattering everywhere in this scene.
Yeah, but it's not like coming out of some. Like you don't see it coming out of somebody, so it's all sort of detached in that way. So I can see them getting away with that. I still don't fully understand the Japanese violence standards. I mean, I'm sure, like it makes sense if you grew up on Japanese cinema, but I didn't. So like, I don't know what the rating standards are and stuff. So
well, this is not for kids, so keep that in mind.
Okay.
This was for an adult audience.
But they were clearly trying to keep it as blood free as possible because it's 90% blood free.
It might have been a budgetary thing. Who knows?
Oh, well, yeah, all right, that's fair.
And then maybe you're right. Maybe in Japan it was marketed towards kids who watched like Hakaider, but then by the time 1995 rolled around, those kids who watched Hakaider would have been adults.
No, I mean it makes sense if this was aimed primarily at adults. I mean, I'm sure they wanted to catch some younger viewers too. I mean, you don't want to close off a market, but I could understand if it was aimed primarily at adults. Like I said, I just don't understand the Japanese censor standards.
Because a lot of that shit for the kid shows is way fucked up.
Yeah, they're way darker on certain things and they're way softer on certain things. Like the whole no vaginas, no vulvas thing. Like that like even in hardcore porn, like watching a lady get hard anal fisted, but then there's a Band-Aid over her vagina to make sure that nobody gets corrupted by that.
In Jesus Town, vaginas are considered evil.
Possession of a vagina is punishable by genetic reappropriation.
He's doing this thing that people with amnesia do in movies where they're like, "Who am I?" And I'm like, is that the first question that they would literally ask? Like, I feel like your sense of self, you're not going to know that you don't know who you are until you get a pretty good grip of what's going on. So he has a bike. So this is also like a Kamen Rider show.
Except his bike is more hardcore.
Yeah, and it's also chained up.
It's got a chain dragging on it for like 5 minutes.
And it's intercut with the opening credits. It's kind of like a Sam Raimi edit.
A little bit, yeah. They do at least explain how the chain gets off it. Like
Yeah,
I didn't think they were I didn't think they were going to. I thought that it was just like that chain was going to drag around and then it either was going to stay on for the whole movie or just disappear at some point. But no, they actually have a compelling, well, compelling is maybe the wrong word, but they have a logical explanation of how the chain disappears.
And after the opening credits, we get some more Raimi vision. Actually, it's the Evil Dead camera.
There's definitely some strong Raimi influences here. I don't know who the first. I know Raimi certainly popularized the Evil Dead cam, but I don't know like who the first one to use that was. But I think crediting it to Raimi is perfectly valid.
Everybody just calls it Raimi Vision anyways.
Because he definitely brought it mainstream.
So there's this dude with a briefcase who doesn't matter. He just gets arrested.
No, he doesn't matter at all.
I think the scene is primarily to
introduce Michael.
To where we meet Michael.
Yeah.
And it took me a second. I'm like, Jesus Town, fucking Michael. He's named after the Archangel, isn't he? He's even got a wing, like he's got wings.
Wing, singular.
Wing. Do you know what the other dude, the villain of the piece, his wings are made out of like a dead goose or something?
No, he's literally got a dead bird on his shoulder that he just walks around with. It's like part of his fucking clothes.
It's fucking weird. I didn't notice that until the second watch.
There's a lot of death imagery in his whole character, which I think, I mean, for what they're doing, clearly very appropriate. It works really, really well. I would love to see a deeper exploration of these characters in this place. It's really interesting.
They do not do that.
No, they do not. But maybe that plays to its strengths. It lets you fill in everything with your imagination, and it doesn't over-explain, so you get to wonder about it.
And this dude essentially begs Michael to kill him, but Michael says something like, even though you're a criminal, we respect your life. I'm like, what? That's super weird. Michael's supposed to keep law and order,
especially considering how fucking violent this movie gets.
Yeah, he's not all willy-nilly running around killing people. So then Hakaider,
he's got a fate worse than death in store for him. That's what he's got.
Hakaider gets to the gates of the city. So the gates of the city are a long way away from the city. It looks like, judging by how long he has to drive, because it's bright daylight out. But by the time he gets to the city, it's completely pitch black.
It's bright
outside.
Daylight when he goes through the border check.
So he stops at this like border check area, which is run by a white guy, by the way. There are a lot of white people in this movie.
Yeah, there are a lot of white people. And they, with the exception of this guy, because this guy clearly is speaking English, or some other language. It could be Belgian. I don't fucking know. But he's clearly not speaking Japanese. But all the other ones seem to be speaking Japanese.
I doubt it. They're probably doing that.
No, the lips seem to match. Like, as far as I could tell, the lips matched up, mostly.
But you don't speak Japanese, so you have no idea.
I know what lip shapes make certain sounds.
But how could you even see it? Because the quality was so bad. How could you even see their mouths?
I didn't say it was invisible. I said it was VHS or, like first-gen DVD quality. It wasn't unwatchable. I'm just saying, like, this movie deserved better, okay?
See, I'm being a little antagonistic now.
Can you not see that my being upset about this is because I actually liked this movie?
I just figured you're upset about it anyways because you're just like that.
No, I actually liked this movie. I'm upset about it because I feel like there were some really strong visuals in this movie, and they deserved better than the treatment they got. It might be that was all the sources they had. Like the only source they had was like the original Betamax tape.
Oh, this kind of shit? Yeah, they have... Nothing is sacred over there.
But, like, I would love to have seen a really good high-def remaster of this, because this had some fucking banging visuals, man.
He is at this checkpoint, and the dude's like, "Was your citizenship card or whatever?" And Hakaider just kind of looks at him, and then there's this little trinket thing on the desk or whatever, and he just looks at it, and he like bumps it so it moves, and the dude like looks at it, and then he drives off. I'm like, what the fuck?
This is a weird scene. It really is.
And you know that scene in Neverending Story with those two sphinxes?
Oh yeah, that's what it is. They have this like trap on the road to like destroy anything that goes through it, and Hakaider just fucking drives through it and gets cooked and keeps on going.
But the chain stays behind.
Yep.
And then melts as the fucking guy like walks up to him. He's like, what just happened?
It's like glowing red on the ground. Just like it's just been through a forge.
And then we cut to inside the city. Like, Hakaider's not there yet, but we cut to inside the city, and everyone's like dressed in white, except for this small group of people. And you're like, ooh, they're the rebels. And we learn later that they're literally the rebels. Yeah.
Honestly, all the police needed to do is in this city is profile the same way they do in Spokane. Anybody black, they just arrest them.
Well, there is a black guy in their group, so yeah.
It's just the clothing is black in this version of the story.
And there's some cool miniature work on like the city walls too at this point.
Yeah.
Like
some of the effects are really, I mean, granted, some of the visuals are like laughably bad. I'm looking at you, canted statue in the garden. I'm looking at you, giant fucking statue lying behind the horizon in her dream state.
But then so many squibs, more just pew 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 pew.
Oh, dude, you're not joking. Like he really is. He spends this whole movie just getting squibbed to death. Like,
he does. It's every time it cuts to him, there's sparks flying off him.
Just constantly.
Then there's like this weird morphing sequence. It's kind of Guyverish with like tentacly.
That's maybe higher praise than it deserves, but yes, it is Guyver adjacent.
I keep on referring to Hakaider like he's the fucking honey badger. Because he's getting shot at right now, and I said, Hakaider don't give a fuck. He blows up the city's defenses with what looks like a shotgun, and like later it's
this
revealed,
is straight out of T2.
Yeah.
You know he just got that from
Yes.
Terminator 2.
This whole movie is an excuse to just like reference other movies.
For sure. Yeah.
Mostly with Hakaider doing cool shit.
Yeah.
But later it's revealed that it is just a shotgun. It has shells in it, but he's like he points this fucking thing and
it's the shells that are
yeah, they're like
special.
magic. I don't know. Yeah. They're weird. And he shoots this fucking, what I assume is a giant fucking cannon off this wall, and he blows it up.
Oh, that's not the biggest thing his shotgun takes down. Remember, later on he one-shots a building.
yeah, that's awesome. The climax of this movie is fucking wacky.
Oh, it's
all
so
nuts
good.
until that point.
Honestly, like even if you hate the beginning, it's worth going through it for the ending.
You don't hate the beginning because this is
I don't love the beginning, but I don't hate the beginning. But I love the ending.
Well, for me, it was like the first 30 minutes is like just all awesome crap that I just want to see, and then it sags in the middle when we start having to deal with like relationships.
Oh yeah, the whole like philosophical quote unquote arc,
and then the climax happens like 10 minutes later, so it's cool. I'm like, fuck it, who cares? We get 10 minutes of story.
The lag isn't bad. The lag isn't bad.
We are gonna meet our main villain, who we don't really know is the main villain yet, but he has that dead bird on his back.
He's giving off villain energy, right? I mean, not as strong as he does later, but he's definitely given off that that's so fucking righteous that he's got to be evil.
So he's dressed completely in white. Everything around him is white. The whole building on the inside is white, except for his hair, which is long and like wet. I guess
it's greasy.
Yeah,
his hair is just fucking greasy. You know what it is? It's that he doesn't say the evil shit during this sequence. He starts saying the evil shit in the neck, like later on. That's when he starts saying like he starts going peacemaker, like I don't care how many people I have to kill to bring peace, I'll do it.
Yeah, like he eventually it's revealed that he like basically lobotomizes these people, these criminals, so they can like reset themselves. But I'm like, but they're like children now. That's creepy. But yeah, he's the ruler of Jesus Town.
I believe technically he would be the prime minister because
Parliament.
It's led by Parliament. Yeah, the prime minister of Jesus Town.
Hakaider is also in town now, and Jesus guy deploys the heavy soldiers and they look like penises. They look like white penises.
They look like if stormtroopers were more phallic looking.
Yeah. Yep, they look like little white penises. That's actually my next note. Like we said, there's not much of a story here, so I'm going through all these scenes as they're happening. We cut to a young girl who is all chained to this tree, and then this fucking angel of death looking thing comes up from the ground.
No, it for the audience, it has all the features of an angel, bright white wings, the whole thing, but it is a full on fucking death skeleton. It's metal. It's metal.
It's so fucking cool looking.
It's really cool.
Yeah, and it's freaky. And then this black knight just kind of comes out of nowhere.
Oh, and the girl is like a fairy too. She's got like fairy wings.
Yeah, she's all dressed
against this tree.
She's dressed in black, and so this black knight comes out of nowhere, fucking kills this thing with his awesome big ass sword, and then breaks her chains. And then
he fucking impaled the sword goes all the way through. Even the hilt comes out its chest. It's rad. And
then she wakes up. She's in the middle of a fucking mission, and she should fucking focus. That is the character Kyoru. Her gang, like the gang at the beginning, are attempting to break into this government building. Or, I guess, just steal the truck. Or whatever's in the truck. That makes sense. That was my note because I was like writing it down as the scene was happening and I couldn't remember what they were doing.
I can't believe this movie actually tackles as much philosophically as it does, because they do take on the whole idea. I mean, because obviously you have this religio-fascist state that is currently being run, right? But the rebels, as we get further down in our journey with them, it turns out they just want to be in control of the shit. Whereas she is a genuine idealist. Like, she wants to return freedom to the people. That's what she wants. But she's surrounded herself by the people who can get the job done.
Yep.
And all they want is to be in charge so that they can run things. And Hakaider actually addresses that when he confronts them.
He's like, you suck just as much as that guy.
Yeah. I can't believe how much this movie is tackling for as not that kind of movie it is.
Yeah, there was a real sentiment, like a real thing in Japanese culture at the time, in all these toku shows and movies. Like, they're almost the punk rock of Japan. It's weird because
that's fair.
They're always talking about like nature and like preserving nature and environmental stuff in all of these shows. There's always
anti-fascist.
Yeah, there's always some kind of thing like that.
That's pretty cool, actually.
So that's pretty interesting.
No, philosophically, I really like the stuff they're doing in this. It's some really interesting stuff. And I can't believe I'm saying that about this movie, which really is just cheesy action.
It really is. But like I said, like the first 30 minutes, and then you get 10 minutes of like we get to know these people kinda, and then they all die, and then it's off to the fucking races.
Literally all of them. They just all die.
Yeah. So Hakaider, by the way, is still riding into the city. It's nighttime now. But
it's been hours at this point.
The dick soldiers on wheels try to stop him with more squibs.
Oh,
God. Squib.
The dick soldier motorcycle chase is pretty good.
Yeah, he takes them all out, but it's like one guy takes out another guy whose face like smashes into this overpass, and then like he takes out a bunch of guys.
That was pretty good. I like that.
That was a good one. He takes out a bunch of guys like one by one on these motorcycles. He just like steps on like the brake of one or something, like the shifter on the foot, and then he just kind of flies off into wherever's the fuckville.
No, there's one where he like reaches down into the engine of one of them, and I can't tell what he does, but then all of a sudden that dude's bike fucking blows up underneath it.
Well, he takes his foot and like steps on the guy's foot on the other bike, and then that one veers off, and then that one explodes. Everybody explodes. This fucking bike chase scene is really awesome. And then eventually
it's a lot of fun.
Kaoru sees him and has this weird flashback to her dream.
Clearly all dreams come true in this universe.
If you don't have a will of your own, there's no reason for you to live. That's right. Hakaider grabs one of the dick soldiers.
He's like, I was just following orders.
You don't have a will of your own, there's no reason to live, so he fucking kills that guy.
And that's the one, he takes his claws and just jams it into his fucking face and he sprays blood out.
So it also turns out that the emo kid, he knows who Hakaider is. We don't know why yet, but we'll learn later. And
emo kid. You mean the Prime Minister?
Yes.
Prime Minister Gerard Butler, whatever the fuck that was. Gerard Way. Sorry.
Gerard Way. Yeah.
Sorry.
One dude tries to shoot Hakaider. I think it's with Hakaider's gun, and his arm fucking falls off.
No. The
like,
best.
What the fuck?
The best part of it is, right. Like, it would make sense if it blew. Like it kicked back so hard that it tore his arm off. But no, what it does is it blows his body back, but the arm just drops straight to the ground.
I'm like, sure, man.
It's so ridiculous. I loved it.
Again, this fucking gun just blows everything up. There's this big like tank truck thing that the soldiers bring along, and he just like,
which is way more impressive until before they show it, because it's really just a Chevy van.
Yep, but it's shooting at him, more squibs.
It's got this big fucking cannon on top.
And then he fucking blows the cannon up, and then eventually he blows the whole fucking truck up.
Yes, he does.
And then all the bad guys are on fire, like dead. Hakaider, except for one, yes, we'll get to him. Hakaider gets a little fucked up after this big ass scene, but he's cool. Then Michael comes later. Michael comes and he sees the aftermath, all these dead soldiers, except for the one.
And no, he has this tender moment with one of the dead soldiers. He's lying there and his helmet has been like split so that he can see his open eye through it. And he reaches down and just gently brushes over the outside of his helmet, which is 4 inches away from the surface of his skin. And his eye closes.
Yep.
I don't even think he says anything. He just has this moment.
Yep.
And then the surviving soldier stands up.
The dude shows up and he's like, "Oh my god, man, I almost died and shit." And Michael's like, what does he say?
He says, "Why didn't you die?
Yeah, basically,
If you were worthy of me, you would have fought to the death."
Yeah, I'm like, right on. I mean, that's our first glimpse into how awful these guys are.
And then he kills him.
It's pretty brutal. I love it. Blood everywhere. So
Is this the bloody scene?
Yeah, I think that's the one where he shoves the fucking...
okay, I was wrong. Okay, the previous scene where I said the blood, I was wrong, folks. It's this scene.
I think the other guy, he just like throws or something.
Yeah, that could... Well, no, I mean, they do some head crushing and stuff, but there's never any blood with it, except the only blood one is this specific scene.
And a lot of the penis head soldiers are robots.
Are they?
Yeah, did you not catch that?
I didn't catch that some of them were robots, some of them weren't.
Most of them, the big like tall-headed penis head guys, they're all robots. But
okay. And so then there's like shorter cock length ones that are...
they're people, yeah.
Okay.
So
we'll call them the chodes.
The chodes, yes. So Hakaider is a little worse for wear right now. We cut back to him somewhere else. His hand is all fucked up, and I'm not sure exactly what it is.
Yeah, the rebels rescued him. I think what it is like his body is healing itself, but it needs some time. And then when his hand transforms back into a human hand, that's when he's like fully healed.
Yeah, it's weird. It's never explained. Never happens again.
They leave it to you to figure out a lot of stuff.
I like the little moment with the bread and the soup. Like this one dude's like, Kaoru is like, "Do you want something to eat, man?" And then the one guy's like, "He's a robot. He doesn't eat. What the fuck? Why is he even here?" By the way, they're not so happy that he's there.
And then he looks at that dude right in the eye and takes a bite of the bread. Because I said this to my roommate while we were watching it. I was like, because Hakaider's whole philosophy is, "Fuck you, I won't do what you tell me."
It is.
Even though he's a machine.
But that's why he got locked up. So he does literally take one bite out of the bread and take a sip of the soup and just hand it all right back to her.
Yeah. I'm guessing he doesn't actually have a stomach, but he's got enough of a throat that he could swallow that and have a place to store it.
And then Kaoru and Hakaider have like a little moment. They kind of look at each other, and then one girl's like, "Is it love at first sight?" And everybody's like, "Tee hee hee." And
oh yeah, they're all being dicks.
Fucking jealous.
A little bit.
Bet you're all jealous.
I think they are.
So their goal is to essentially destroy Parliament because they're all being controlled. No, her goal is to destroy Parliament.
I wanted to mention while we were still talking about the other girl making fun of her, she actually makes a joke about, "Did you tell him what's your dream, like to be an ordinary bride?" Yeah.
Oh yeah, she does.
And because then later she has the fantasy about being a bride with Hakaider.
Yep.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be so bad to just be an ordinary bride. Like, I don't know what that means, but okay.
Yeah, they leave a lot unspoken in this movie. I'm sorry, I derailed you. I should have just shut the fuck up.
So her goal is to destroy Parliament to give people their freedom, and their goal is to destroy Parliament so they can be in control of whatever government they decide.
They want to be the new fascist rulers.
Apparently, this benevolent leader, though, the emo kid, Jesus freak guy, is actually a very big brother type. He watches everybody, and like his soldiers fucking lobotomize people and torture people and do all sorts of fucked up stuff.
Yep. There's no line he won't cross to bring peace and happiness to his people.
Turns out, though, that he had Hakaider made prior to this city becoming what it is. And he's like, that we needed a violent robot henchman or something to bring peace and order, but he couldn't be controlled. So
this guy is all about control.
Yes. And he's like, I was going to kill him, but when I was about to kill him, some scientists kidnapped him and hid him away from me. And then Michael's like, he's not so fucking cool.
I'm as good as Hakaider is.
He really does that. He's like, I'm superior. Oh, some penis soldiers find the fucking hideout, the rebel hideout.
Oh, a shitload of them.
Despite Kaoru saying like, oh, nobody's going to find us down here. Sure enough, 2 minutes later.
She's like, we won't be found easily. They find him 7 minutes later. Yep. Tops.
Literally everybody dies here. Almost. Literally everybody dies.
Well, everybody dies, just not everybody dies here.
Yeah. So they even managed to get Hakaider down a bit. They fucking blast him full of squibs again, but this time they have to use a missile launcher and a bazooka, and he's finally down for like a minute because Kaoru gets shot, her other white friend gets shot. As these dudes are walking away, it's really fucked up because it looks like they're going to kind of ignore the two that are alive.
There's a great moment where like she survived, right? She survived the first wave of everybody getting killed except that one. What was his name? Kaoru?
Kaoru is the girl.
Oh, what was the name of the white guy who?
White guy. I don't know.
Okay, anyway, the white guy, her and the white guy managed to evade getting shot.
Oh, no, he gets shot.
Oh, yeah, no, okay, he gets shot, but she doesn't get shot. And the soldiers are walking out because they got to go chase Hakaider. And what does she fucking do? She stands up and follows them. She could have just played dead and gotten away with it, but no, she gets up and follows them. And then after they've gunned Hakaider down, like where he lay, like he went off the edge of this building, he's under all this rubble and shit, and then they're like, bah, like shooting a bunch of extra just to be safe, right? And all she had to do was fucking leave. But she doesn't. She stands there and then she has to berate them. And so, of course, the next part happens.
Yeah, they're all walking away, and then the last guy walks by and then shoots them both.
Yep.
So the white guy's dead.
And then she doesn't die. And all she has to do is lie there. But she's got to get up and talk shit.
Yeah. So they all stand, kind of do they make like a pathway for Michael to come out. Michael shows up here to kind of he announces that Hakaider is dead. And he kills Kaoru with his strong hand, I said.
I don't think he kills her though, because then she's but he does something that makes her scream, but it doesn't really say what, because the next thing that happens is she's walking down the street.
Yep. So she screams, and Hakaider wakes up, even though he's under the rubble, right? And she's not dead. Obviously, that was my next note. I guess she's not quite dead yet, as she's kind of wandering through town. Hakaider ends up like right behind her as she's about to fall down. I don't know.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense how she survived that. None at all.
And she's like, "Can you take me someplace, please?" And they end up at her secret little place,
which is this huge fucking forest with a river
and a giant Jesus statue.
I don't think that's Jesus.
You don't think that's Jesus? I think that's Jesus. It's Jesus Town. Of course it's Jesus.
I don't think that's Jesus.
It's Jesus.
If it were Jesus in Jesus Town, they wouldn't have let it fall over like that. I got the impression that it was like an idol, and they were tearing down the idols.
My guess is it's a post-apocalypse kind of thing, and they found Jesus Town based on...
But it ain't Jesus. It doesn't look like any classic representation
modern
representation.
It looks like white Jesus.
It does not look
It looks like white Jesus.
It doesn't look anything like
Considering
white Jesus.
that white Jesus doesn't exist any more than black Jesus does, it looks like white Jesus.
It doesn't look anything like white Jesus.
Not quite like Kenny Loggins, but...
It doesn't look anything like white Jesus.
It looks like Jared Leto.
Not even close.
She dies, but before that, they share another moment, and she's like, "Are you coming on to me? I guess it's okay as long as you're good at it." And then she like rests on his shoulder, and then she dies. I'm like, what the
Then she goes into like a fantasy where she marries him as the Black Knight and whatnot or something like that.
Yeah, she eventually dies and goes into her like fantasy land where she gets her Black Knight.
And then as she dies, it fades to black and white. And that is where the low resolution is the most painfully obvious.
But I also think this filmmaker may or may not have a little bit of problem with Christianity, seeing as how like the last thing you see in the fantasy is a flaming fucking cross falling over. So apparently Hakaider decided he liked this girl even though he's only known her for a few hours, so he has something to fight for now.
I will say this guy has all the same problems with Christianity that I have, if based on what I'm seeing here.
Oh yeah.
I love Jesus. I think Jesus is great. But the Christo-fascism that modern Christianity has turned into is fucking bullshit. And I mean, I'm sorry, like if you read the Bible, Jesus is straight up hippie, man. Jesus ain't into that shit. He's all about freedom of choice. He's all about like he'll give you the advice, but you don't have to listen to him. He's like, hey, you got to do it your own way. Anyway, all the Christo-fascism, yeah, I hate that shit too.
He rides that bike back into the city to go fuck up some Jesus freaks. That's what I wrote. The first thing he does, though, he blows up he doesn't blow up the whole building. He like blows up a part of this building that apparently like controls all the robot dicks, because he blows up this thing and then they all kind of drop dead.
Okay, so that explains why only some of them drop dead, because I didn't realize that some of them were robots and some of them were human. I thought they were all humans that had been like basically like kind of lobotomized, like the way the guy did it. And then turned him into his soldiers, because they clearly don't, they don't like think for themselves. They're just his patrol force doing whatever he tells them to.
The 5% that are left, though, get to be squashed by Hakaider personally.
And they're still all coming after him with the same gun. This is the thing my roommate kept harping on. They were like, they're using the same guns that have never hurt him one time.
It's like everybody's shooting at Godzilla.
Yeah.
So he finds a bunch of caged people after he's done fucking massacring these other assholes. and asks basically if they want to be their own people and have a will of their own, and they all say, yeah, of course, get us the fuck out of here. So he opens the cage, and then they all...
rips that fucking cage right off.
Also, a lot of fucking white people in there. He makes it to this, what I called an immaculate white room. It's like perfect. It's all put together.
Yeah.
No color, just white, but not for much longer, because here comes Michael. John Travolta strolls right into this fucking room.
Yeah, it was really weird. I didn't expect to see him in this at all.
I want to keep that joke going just so people think that this whole thing is happening with John Travolta doing it. That'd be funny.
He's wearing the khaki jacket and everything.
And he's like, I'm not that kind of angel. While he's eating eggs or whatever. Andy McDowell shows up. What the fuck is she doing here now? So we're in this room. Michael comes in. It's basically just this back and forth where Michael says, like, there's like actual back and forth where they're like fighting a little bit, but Michael says that he's justice. He's this pure entity for good and whatever. And Hakaider's like, okay, if you're good, then I must be evil. I'm like, fuck yeah, that's awesome. And then he like sets the fucking rose on fire or whatever it is, the
orchid.
flower. The orchid, yeah. And they fight. And there's lots of clanging metal and shit. Nothing frenetic.
There's a lot of clanging.
Yeah.
Like the clanging gets distracting almost.
This feels really methodical. Like everything starts breaking, like all the white pieces start breaking, and it's like, it looks like blood. I know.
Well, he starts by breaking through this pillar, but it turns out on the inside of this pillar are like all these tubes and shit, and everything is blood red. And the entire inside of the column is also blood red. And so it looks like the shit is full of veins and it's just bleeding. It's a really great effect.
Yeah, it's almost like, well, I can't have, they're fucking robots, so they're not going to be bleeding, so I gotta do this thing.
Oh, it's so cool. I love this whole sequence.
I still don't know what
this is the conflict that I've been talking about from the beginning of this podcast. This is the thing. I would watch the whole movie just for this sequence.
So I still don't know what that glowy hand thing is, but Michael uses it on Hakaider now.
Well, he fucking digs into his chest with the shit, like it turns like red hot or something, so like he's able to melt. Like, because later on, after he pulls away, after they break, Hakaider has like finger holes drilled into him from Michael's hand.
Digs into him and then he like throws him across the room or some shit.
So like, in fairness, I mean, Michael's putting up a good fight.
So Hakaider's gun is on the ground. It's like almost right next to him, right? But he does the thing where he tries to grab it, and Michael picks it up and he fucking cocks it a few times, and all the shells fall out. Hakaider manages to get his hands on a couple. We'll come back to that here in a minute.
See, what I thought was going to happen is I thought, because obviously the shells are extraordinarily powerful. I thought Hakaider was going to just take the shells in his fist and punch Michael with them, and then his hand would just blow up.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Like a fucking bomb.
But no, apparently he has a Mega Man arm cannon.
Less interesting, but it still works.
And he literally loads the fucking shells into his arm.
I mean, it works because, it's like it's his gun, it's his arm cannon, so, like, okay, logically I could see him having that as a backup.
And then he blows Michael's fucking arm off.
But it's not as fun as if you just punch the motherfucker and blow him up that way.
And then Michael's a little shell-shocked by this, so Hakaider finally...
Literally.
Because it's a shell. He finally has the upper hand. He ends up ripping Michael's fucking wings off. Wing. And then he throws him around a bit before he rips his fucking head off.
Yes. That was what I was saying, because I'm having this running conversation with my roommate throughout this. I was like, they haven't used blood much, but if ever there was a time to use blood, this is it. And then he starts ripping his head off, and all that fucking tubing and shit starts coming out, and it's all that blood red of the tubing that's in the walls and shit. It looks so good. I loved it.
It was perfect. And then he just tosses the head aside. He's like, fuck it. And then
the head's not dead, though.
No. That's my next note, actually. We're still not done. So the Jesus freak guy, he comes in acting kind of weird. People should be like flowers, he says. And
obedient,
and basically like they should grow when I want them to, and they should shut the fuck up when I want them to.
To which my roommate, who is a tad pedantic, I will be the first to admit, goes, he has clearly never tried to raise a flower before.
And now there's also this giant robot thing that ends up picking up Michael's head and like attaching it on this robot body thing. But it's later, cool. When you go in, when you do a close up of it, the colors have changed, so it's like blue and white-ish.
Yeah.
So it looks more like Hakaider's face.
Yeah, Michael's head color changes when it merges with the body. Like, because yeah, he starts out like pure white, and then like you said, turns to like that blue. Was it like blue and yellow and white?
Blue and white. Yeah, blue, yellow, white.
Probably supposed to be
kind of like that.
Yeah. There you go. That great podcasting. That, by the way,
I said he looks like Hakaider. You can fucking look it up.
Okay. You gonna tell him
who's
how to
pedantic?
Spell? You gonna? Okay, I can own that. Yeah, I can own that. We're both we're well matched as roommates because we're both pretty pedantic.
So the fucking robot comes, busts its way like what through the wall, and comes and attacks him, and then starts throwing him around a little bit. So he's getting his ass kicked because this is awesome. It's like the Ed 209 fight.
Very cool. It's very cool.
I'm just like, holy fuck, we're still not done. I'm exhausted. This movie's very short, but I'm just like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, boss fight, second phase.
Holy fuck, are we? Ugh. So eventually, it goes exactly the way you'd think. Hakaider gets his arm blown off, and he's down for the count. But he's had this little like X cross thing on his chest.
It's like
the whole movie.
Original Xbox logo a little bit.
And it turns out, like that thing opens up, and this giant fucking cannon is in the middle of his chest, and he uses this cannon that we've never seen before to blow up this machine.
Yeah, he decimates that motherfucker.
It's gone. It's gone. The head is still intact. We'll see it just before the movie ends.
Yes.
But the emo kid, he decides that...
probably going to return for the sequel if there is one.
I wish. There's not.
Well, maybe that's what they were intended. I'm guessing that's what they intended, though.
Yeah.
Just in case.
I'm wondering if this was intended as like the backdoor pilot for a TV show.
I mean, given the length and the pacing of it, that's what I felt like. It really felt like a pilot to me.
But considering that like Kamen Rider ZO is only an hour long, the theatrical cut of this movie is only an hour long. It could have just been this standalone thing. Also, watch the theatrical cut. Maybe you'll like it better.
Was Kamen Rider ZO not the pilot? Not like to kick off a new season of Kamen Rider?
Nope, that was just a movie.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
For some reason, I thought that was sort of like a pilot as well.
It was an anniversary film, I believe.
Like that's right. That's right. I forgot about that.
So the Jesus Freak guy decides that, hey, you know what? Like 1,000 guns didn't work. This giant machine failed to fucking do anything about this. Maybe a little revolver that I pulled out of my ass will do the trick.
Well, he doesn't start with that. He starts with trying to recruit. Oh no, that's earlier. That's when he's doing the distraction thing. That's right. No, at this point, Hakaider's coming for him, and he's just like, last ditch, last chance saloon. Here comes the 6-shooter.
There's nothing sci-fi or magical about it. It is just a gun,
and it does fucking nothing. Of course,
but more squibs.
That's true. We gotta hit him with a few more squibs before we close this.
And now this dude is shitting his pants because Hakaider's just walking towards him, and
this is the first time he looks legitimately concerned.
It's you know what it reminds me of? That Mandy. Like the guy's like badass until Nicolas Cage finally gets to him, and he's like, "Oh fuck, I'm dead." Okay, no, just come on, don't do it. It's fine. We're cool, right? But Hakaider walks up to him and says, "You're not worth killing," and then he just starts to walk away. But the dude is safe. He's not going to die. But what does he do? He grabs a fucking gun that's been lying there. I don't know if it's Hakaider's gun or like.
No, I think it came off the machine.
So he grabs this fucking...
Because there's parts strewn fucking everywhere.
He grabs this cannon and he's ready to fucking shoot Hakaider with it, but Hakaider turns around and then fucking jams his hand in this dude's stomach, just like has happened to him and a bunch of other people.
Yeah, except this dude ain't no robot.
Oh, I said, dude gets a little too cocky and Hakaider fist fucks his stomach.
His belly button. Fists his belly button.
Ugh, oh, that's gross.
And then the whole room fucking explodes in feathers. It's like he punched the guy so hard all the stuffing blew out of him. It seriously looks like a feather pillow exploded.
The bad guy's dead, and the other bad guy's dead, and then the other bad guy's dead.
And now the bad guy's the only one left alive.
And then as he's walking away, we see Michael's head on the ground. He goes, "I am justice. I am justice." And it just fades.
And then he just walks away.
Yep. Fuck it. So now Hakaider is free to kind of wander the world, I guess. He gets on his bike with his now 2 arms.
Yep.
Because his arm grew back.
Well, remember, he heals himself. Like he probably had to go chill for a few hours to do that.
Oh, yeah, fair enough.
Like now he's leaving the city. He's going to hop on his bike like Schwarzenegger. And
rides off into the fucking sunset to go save some more people.
And credits.
2 different sets of credits. One in Japanese, one in English.
Oh, I didn't stick around long enough to see the English ones.
Nah, I fast forwarded it.
Were you going to see if there was an end credit sequence or something?
I always fast forward to the end now. I always have.
Okay.
You know, it did it. Wayne's World. Wayne's World had like this mid-credit sequence, and that always shocked me.
I must have missed it. I think I might have missed it.
Yeah,
I might have seen it and just forgotten. I don't know, but
so ever since then, I've been like, oh man, do all movies have that? How many movies have that? Like, what the fuck? And
I saw a thing on Reddit where someone's local theater started actually posting a thing in their lobby.
Oh,
does this have an end credit sequence? Yes, and then it lists the movies. No, and then it lists the movies.
Oh, that's a good idea. I always I have to look it up when the credits start because I always forget to do it before the movie. So that's fucking Hakaider. That is a weird little time capsule from 1995.
If you enjoy this kind of thing, definitely worth checking out. If only, like, even if all the rest of it doesn't do it for you, that final fight sequence is so visually cool. And I mean, that's the thing that upset me most is just that the movie didn't look better because it deserved it.
And I think it looked fine.
You're wrong, but no. I mean, if this is all we get, then this is all we get, and I mean, it is what it is. You're right. Like, you make a fair point about like we're lucky to get this because of how completely just thoughtless Toei was about archiving things.
And that's just kind of how these things look.
Yeah, but
and I love it. And I'm here for
God, it looks so cool. This show, it looks so cool. That final fight looks cool as shit. I wouldn't mind seeing a modern update of this.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that I'm like, hey, American companies, you want to like get behind some of this stuff? Maybe don't spend $100 million on it because it won't work because, nobody in their right mind is going to go see a Power Rangers movie in the theater.
Yeah, I mean, do it like a Netflix show or like an Amazon original or something like that, It doesn't have to be huge budget. Just give them enough to, like shoot it the way they want to shoot it and do some decent special effects. Doesn't have to be amazing. Doesn't have to be Marvel level, Japan has the infrastructure for doing effects and stuff. Like, that's a known quantity over there. Like, fucking... Or, if you wanted to do an American remake, I probably would... I don't know. It might lose some of the charm if you brought it over.
Oh, just a tiny bit. I have been waiting to watch this movie for, like, a couple years. I don't know why it's taken me so long. And while I was like, oh, hey, there's no story really going on...
There really isn't.
Everything that was happening on screen was so fucking awesome. I swear, Rachel came and sat down as I was watching it, and I'm like, oh, it's only been on for like 10 minutes. It's fine. And I look at it. It had been on for 30 fucking minutes. That's how into it I was. So
I don't think I was quite as into it as you, but I did enjoy it.
I've just never seen anything quite like it.
That's true. I think, what this would, if you were going to do a Western remake of this, right? This would be great as like a John Wick or Dread type of just nonstop, relentless action, start to finish action.
Yes.
Like tell it, keep the story super simple, like one of those movies, like there's a drug dealer at the top of the building and, he's got to get in there and stop him or they're going to blow the whole thing up, something simple like that. But, make it with the fucking Jesus Town or whatever. I mean, you'd probably have to get a little more nuance than that for a Western audience to accept it. But still, like you could have it be this totalitarian religious state, have Hakaider be, the like liberating voice who sees the bullshit on all sides of it. Because honestly, that's kind of where America is right now, where we're all looking at it going, fuck both these guys.
Yeah, it would actually be perfect. Yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, it would just be rad as shit if it were done that way. But again, it would have to be like really dedicated for genre fans. And for that reason, it's never going to have the broad appeal of so it couldn't be $100 million movie. It'd have to be a much smaller budget type of a thing, but it could be super fucking cool.
It could be. I would love it. I think this movie's really awesome for what it is. Visually speaking, it's fucking really cool. Don't go into it expecting some mind-bending cerebral plot, because there really isn't a plot at all.
I didn't even know what you were going to say, but I already knew you were right. Don't go into it expecting. Yep, don't go into it expecting. Don't go into it expecting at all. Just go into it, and I think you'll have a good time if you can enjoy just good action.
Aesthetically, like looks-wise, it kind of reminds me of something like Nemesis a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit.
Not as good, obviously.
I would love to see Albert Pune direct Hakaider.
Oh dude, that'd be so fucking cool.
As hell.
The early 90s fucking Albert Pune stuff. Oh,
that
man.
That would be cool as shit.
Oh, I have a huge boner right now. We should probably go so I can take care of that. But yeah, fucking Hakaider, if you're into tokusatsu and slightly more violent, adult-oriented, not Super Sentai level, even though Super Sentai gets kind of fucked up sometimes, do this. This is for you if you're into that kind of thing. So I think we're done with that.
Yeah.
We're gonna actually be back next week with Zram. I don't know what the fuck. I don't know how to pronounce it. By the same director though, so that's gonna be kind of awesome.
I'm curious to see what else he's got up his sleeve.
Maybe it'll have a better plot, which is cool.
Fingers
Maybe
crossed.
it won't, which is also cool.
As long as we keep the action up, it's fine.
There is a robot named Bob. I'm here for it. So yeah, we'll be back next week for that. But before we actually go, let's tell you to follow us on social media on everything at the Shark Pod.
At the Shark Pod.
Everything at the Shark Pod, not on the Shark Pod. That would be weird. You can't sit on the Shark Pod.
I think you did say at, but you were like, at the Shark Pod? So you kind of rushed. I just wanted to emphasize it is all. I want for if there's a first time listener.
Your mom is on my Shark Pod.
My mom's dead, you sick son of a bitch.
Those are the best kinds to have on your Shark Pod. I mean, if you want to pay a little bit of extra money for some more back and forth just like that, you can do so at patreon.com/sharksacrosshollywood. We have all sorts of shit going on over there.
Also, we guarantee to insult the audience at least once per episode.
We definitely do that because fuck you people. Anyways, we'll be back next week.
Oh, hey, well,
shit.
We chill out.
Can't forget.
We got 2 more to plug. First, we're going to plug my hole.
I was going to say your mom again.
If you want to follow my comedy, you could follow me at Samuel Mantz. That's MANTSZ at Samuel Mantz, not Samuel Montez, as
man-ass.
One of my comedy friends keeps calling me Samuel, or keeps introducing me as Samuel Montez whenever he's hosting. I'm like, dude, it rhymes with pants. Fuck. Anyway, yeah, come follow me over there. And then Andrew's doing music at Not For Nothing Music. Check them out, especially if you're into the post-punk thing.
Post-punk. We're not fucking.
I said post-punk.
Oh, post-punk. I was going to say we're not fucking Duran and shit. Let's get the fuck out of here. It's really hot up here, and I think we're getting delirious.
You might be right about that.
So, yeah, we'll be back next week with Zram, I guess, is what it's called. I will have it down by next week, I promise. But until then, stay jawsome.